We are approaching the third week of the group stage of the Rugby League World Cup. More than half of the knockout stage teams have already been decided as well. There are a number of key clashes coming up in week 3, but for the most part, it's going to be full of dead rubbers. And I guess that raises the question of, is 16 the right number of teams to have at the Rugby League World Cup at this stage? Now, we've seen a number of blowouts and a number of big scores, which isn't necessarily a problem. Of course, there's going to be a golfing class between the best nations and those who are fledgling at the fringes of the international competition. But does this mean there are too many teams? I don't think so. I think it's great to see the lower tiers and the fledgling nations coming up through the international rugby league scene, but perhaps we need to restructure the shape of the tournament. I know if you look at the T20 World Cup, which is going on at the moment, they kind of had a pre-tournament with the fledgling nations, the nations who were lower in the rankings, and they got to battle it out between themselves to see who would earn the 2 spots at the grander table of the World Cup. But of course, this becomes a problem in rugby league, given the increasingly physical nature of the contest, the squad size, and the fact that players need to rest. You can't expect some of these fledgling nations to be playing 3 or 4 games just to get to the World Cup in the weeks leading up to the World Cup and to still be competitive. Sure, they might be match fit, but it's unlikely that injuries and fatigue aren't going to be setting in much earlier than they would now at this current stage. So what's the solution? We can either scale the competition back to a smaller number of teams to ensure a higher level of competition, but that also increases the already existing gap that we're seeing between the most developed nations and those who are aspiring to enter the Rugby League World Cup. And this isn't all about winning. This is about development and growth for a lot of these nations as well. Look at the Jamaican Reggae Warriors. What an amazing story they've been. They've been consistently hammered by superior opposition, but you saw them score a try against New Zealand and just how much, their first try at the test level, and you saw just how much it meant to them and everyone in attendance as well. There is a real desire for a lot of international rugby league fans to see the game continue to grow, and the important thing to do for development's sake is to make sure that these nations are playing not just at World Cups, but also in international tournaments throughout the year. 16 teams is the right amount of teams at the moment, and provided we can employ the right development strategy and give these teams the support that they need to help them develop and grow in the international community, then soon we're going to be having a tournament where we've got 24 teams, where we've got 28 teams, and it's going to grow, and that's only good for the game. I know it's hard to watch some of these scorelines, and even some of these week 3 clashes, I'm not particularly excited about. I have to admit, if I'm being frank, but they are important and they have a role to play. And to remove them would be to deal a significant blow to the growth of the international game, which is only set to develop and to continue after this tournament.